Hello, everyone, and welcome to our final session of the day before we have AI Idol kickoff. And please welcome Neha Singh, CEO of Obsess, and she'll be speaking to us about the future of online shopping with AR and VR. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Thanks for having me. My name is Neha Singh. I'm the founder and CEO of Obsess. So just a quick background about myself before I get started. So Obsess is an experiential e-commerce platform. We create virtual stores for brands and retailers. We are a startup. We are backed by Village Global, which is a fund backed by Jeff Bezos, Bill Gates, Mark Zuckerberg. Our customers include brands like Dior, Chanel, Tommy Hilfiger, Diesel, Ulta Beauty, and many others. Before starting Obsess, so I'm an MIT alum. I was a software engineer and tech lead at Google for 5 years. And I kind of moved from the world of tech to the world of fashion. So after Google, I was the head of product at Vogue for 4 years. So I was the first tech person Vogue hired in their history, and I launched all of the current Vogue digital properties. So today I'm going to talk about the future of shopping with VR and AI. This is a pretty broad topic, but we'll try to cover a few things in the 15 minutes that we have. And here, okay. So first, let's start with why online shopping needs to change. So if you think about today's e-commerce interface, right, every website looks something like this. It's a grid of thumbnails on a white background. And whether you're shopping for fashion or you're shopping for beauty products or you're shopping for furniture, the interface is exactly the same. And it is exactly the same as buying toothpaste on Amazon, right? This interface was actually created by Amazon 25 years ago to sell books. And then from books, it got used for everything from, all these different categories, every single brand. And so today, especially on mobile, if you think about the online shopping experience, once you get past the homepage of a website, every site looks the same, every brand looks the same. But we know that today's consumers expect visual content, expect interactivity, and expect experiences. And so if you're familiar with the world of retail, experiential has been talked about in the context of physical retail stores for the last several years. But experiential is now coming to e-commerce. And what experiential means in the context of e-commerce is how can I experience the brand and how can I experience the product online in a much richer way than I have been able to do in the past. So if you think about what today's shopping interface is, which is kind of on the left, which is essentially like a database on a web page, it's a catalog-driven interface, mainly search, filter, kind of infinite scrolling is the primary mode. The future online shopping interface will look something like what's on the right, which is visual, it's contextual, it's intelligent, creative. It's actually going to be custom designed for every brand, category, and even every user. So what I'm going to show kind of for the rest of the slides are a lot of things that do exist today, some things that don't exist today, but the basis of these technologies does exist today. And this is what will gain adoption over the next several years. And we'll talk about why that is, like what are the fundamental infrastructure changes that are happening that will enable these kind of richer shopping experiences, and how VR, AR, and AI kind of all play into that. But first of all, if you think about the real world, it is 3D, it's all around us. And so online shopping is eventually going to, or already can, have the same 3D 360 visual interface. It can be much more interactive, much more dynamic. So if you look at some of these are videos from some experiences and virtual stores we have actually created for brands. It's a very interactive interface where the user is driving the experience, similar to what you might do in a real store setting where it's discovery driven, where you are browsing, you're getting inspired and interacting with the products as well as the sales associates in the store. And that's the really kind of interactive interface that you're going to see in online shopping. And the dynamic piece is the fact that these products that you see here can actually be dynamically merchandised in a virtual store setting. So if I'm going to the store or somebody else is going to the store, we can see different products based on our preferences and our past history. And the way that this is actually coming about is using photorealistic CGI technology. And so here it's essentially, CGI technology that's been used for special effects in movies for years, but now using it to create much richer online shopping experiences. And really kind of the turning point in this has been the fact that now it's possible to do this at a very high resolution, very high quality on the devices that people already have. So this is all happening on a mobile device or on your desktop. You don't need to download an app. You don't need a VR headset. It's using the hardware that's available very commonly today and is very accessible, and being able to render these really kind of high resolution, high quality experiences that make the entire experience so much more rich and so much more vibrant and actually closer to the products that you're actually buying and the brands that you want to experience. So yeah, as I just said, this is really kind of the turning point for where virtual shopping as a concept has been around for a really long time, or even for 20 years. Like in theory, it has always been kind of this dream, but now it's actually possible, and it's actually even possible to do on the web. And over the next 5 years, this is really where the adoption we are going to see. Headsets will come down the line at some point, but for the near future, it is really all about kind of hardware that people have. And even with that, not even having to download an app, but really making these experiences very seamless for consumers. And the cool part about these new online shopping experiences is that they don't have to all look like retail stores, right? Like they can actually be contextual environments. So if you're shopping for travel products, you can be in a virtual private jet. If you're shopping for a birthday party, you can actually be in a birthday party. And this improves the shopping experience both for the consumer, because they can now see products in context of how they will be used versus everything and on just like a white background and everything looking the same size. You can see things in their actual realistic size. You can see how it fits into your house, both through kind of virtually creating an experience like that, or bringing it into your real space through camera-based AR. And so that's kind of really redefining and going even a step further, not just from e-commerce, but also from retail stores today, because these new online shopping experiences don't have to just look like retail stores. Like they can really look like anything. It can be fantastical, it can be real, and really gives the brands creative freedom to really express and engage consumers in the way that they want. And then from this virtual environment, as I just said, you can actually pull products into your real environment with augmented reality. And this can now happen all very seamlessly, on your mobile device. And you can bring a product up in your space that's very realistic. And so here, the main sort of barrier to seeing more and more of these experiences is really the 3D production of products. And there's a lot of people working on that, both in sort of automated ways, as well as using photogrammetry, which is actually shooting the product from all sides and getting like a 3D model from it. What we're also going to see is personalized interaction. So you've obviously seen the customer service kind of chatbots on most e-commerce websites on that sort of live on the bottom right corner. But in the future, we'll start seeing much more richer interactions with sales associates, similar to how you see in a store. And this type of technology, especially over the last 3 months because of COVID, has gained even more prominence, and retailers are looking at this in a big way to kind of utilize the sales force that they have in the retail stores, but now put them to work online. So this is the first immersive showroom experience, especially for you. And so you're going to have very personalized interactions. And so the other element in this, in the video that just came up, so the personalized interaction was the first piece, but the second element is all of those kind of clothing that's being shown on CGI models, is all of that is happening automatically, and it's happening through AI, where the way that the fabric stretches and the way that it moves is, we can now kind of simulate all of these things. So we can either use that to create showcase videos for how this will look, or we can even show it on the consumer in that way. So again, just a much richer way that you are able to experience these products now, with the combination of all of these technologies. Now you're seeing more and more live streams in the shopping experience. In this particular example, this is a live stream of a runway show, where all of that is kind of part of your shopping, of your rich shopping experience. Virtual try-on, of course, is the first thing that most people think about. So that's why I kind of talked about other things first as sort of the non-obvious use cases. But here you can obviously imagine that when you are shopping a product online and then you're able to see yourself, even see yourself moving, either by kind of superimposing it on your current self, or even having these like pre-recorded almost like videos of yourself on which you can see these products. And also what all this will enable is really fit diversity. So because a lot of these things are now automatically being generated in terms of both CGI models, 3D models of clothing, we're able to now see products on a much wider array of body types. We will be able to do that much more easily than today, what's possible today, which is more rigid because it's being shot on people, and there's obviously like limited budget to do that in a very big way. So these are kind of some of the pieces that really bring together VR, AR, and AI in terms of how online shopping is going to change. And we have started seeing some of these elements already today in small pockets. And then a quick few minutes on what is the impact of all this on the retail experience and the retail stores. And by retail, I here mean like physical retail stores, essentially, as online shopping becomes richer in this way. So first is that you're essentially going to have ubiquitous access to retail stores, in the sense that you don't have to actually be in the retail store to shop it. You will be able to shop any retail store from anywhere in the world. And this is essentially by, bringing those retail stores online, which really increases their reach, increases their audience. And now, this is the Levi's store in Times Square in New York, but now anywhere in the world, anywhere in the country, you're able to actually go and shop that store. On the flip side of that, you can also pop up a store anywhere with augmented reality. So this is just an empty sidewalk, and now you can actually have, and this can be in your home or it can be anywhere, like you can have these kind of realistic 3D shopping experiences where you can see products on, very clearly. You can see products in the way that they will look and in the way that they will be used. So it also changes like the value of retail real estate. And so ultimately what all of this will result in is that for the retail that does exist, it will need to have a much higher ROI. And that will be possible, through the use of all these technologies, is by actually broadening the reach of that retail store, by making it virtual, by increasing the life of pop-up stores. So of course, during the next year, the physical retail activity is going to be dampened because of COVID, but eventually there will still be physical retail stores. People will still want places to go to, but just that for a retailer to be able to do that, they will just need much higher ROI, which they will be able to get by incorporating all of these technologies into that retail experience. So the last part of what I'm going to talk about, and then we'll go to questions, is that why, is this shopping experience the way that we're describing it here? Why now is the time that this is actually going to change over the next 5 to 10 years? And the first reason for that is really the hardware. So if you think about kind of the power of mobile GPUs today, it's only very recently at the point that you're actually able to have these very rich experiences and render them, on the phone. And that's really what is going to propel this type of technology and rich experience going forward, is when we are as GPUs get even more powerful, as 5G comes, and this is obviously like heavy assets, and as this network speed increases, we are able to make richer experiences. So it's sort of the next phase of technology. The other point is that this type of interface, which is kind of 3D, 360, this has really been popularized by esports, and people are either playing games or they're watching games, and so they're used to this interface, and they're seeing it in many other aspects of their digital lives. But e-commerce has sort of like lagged behind in that area. But now you're going to start to see that. And lastly, thinking of shopping as a digital entertainment channel, which is still a pretty new concept, because if you think of shopping in real life, it is actually an entertainment activity. It's, you go shopping with your friends, it's for inspiration, but online has very much been about functional and efficiency, but you're going to see more and more it moving towards the entertainment side as well, where you just want to browse for inspiration. Like today, obviously that's happening on Instagram, but in these much kind of richer formats as well. And so I'll end with a couple of quotes, and this one is actually basically from a user testing of these experiences where the user said, it's so unique, it's vibrant, I get bored easily. And this does not bore me. This is like verbatim. To be able to find products, see new products in this type of way is just so fun and unique. This is awesome. So these are the kinds of like much, reactions from consumers that these experiences can create. And then this quote I really like. It's from Doug Stephens, who's a retail futurist. And he says that Amazon will become the Sears catalog of the future. The days of pointing and clicking at pictures on a screen will come to an end within a decade. While seemingly invincible today, Amazon, like Sears before it, will eventually be overtaken by new platforms that completely redefine what shopping is. So this is really the phase that we are entering into. So thank you. And we can go to questions now.
Yeah, Neha, very interesting. Thank you for that. So our first question is, how do we apply this technology in spectacles or glasses, such as Google Glass, so that we don't need to use mobile devices continuously?
Yeah, so that's a great question, because these technologies, I would say, like sort of 3 to 4 years ago, or Google Glass was obviously probably like 8 years ago at this point. First, people were thinking that these type of interfaces will really only be accessible through devices like VR headsets and AR glasses. And that will definitely be the case in the future. Right now, we are in kind of an in-between stage where the hardware for the headsets still needs a bit of work. They are not as accessible in terms to consumers. So at the moment, it is important that we are reaching consumers with the hardware and devices that they already have. So it is possible to take all of these experiences and experience them in a VR headset, of course, for Google Glass or HoloLens or Magic Leap, or the glasses that Apple is working on. They will be experiences sort of like the pop-up store example that I showed, where you can just come up somewhere. All of those will be possible in those glasses, so that you will really definitely see in the next 10 years. I think it will still take at least 3 to 5 years, in my opinion, for it to move to a primarily headset-based interface.
Got it. Yeah, that makes sense. So does this increase the time spent shopping for the typical customer, and are customers actually ready to use this sort of experience?
Yeah, so what we have seen from the experiences and virtual stores that we have created is that it is increasing customer engagement, which is both in terms of the time that they're spending interacting with the brand in this kind of environment, as well as just the interaction rate. So how much they are like clicking on things and watching videos and all of that. So a lot of times we are actually taking, in a way, that assets that brands are already creating for, Instagram or this and that, and it's really kind of creating a cohesive, engaging experience out of it. And then we have also seen increase in customer loyalty, so people coming back more often, and conversion rates, so actually making the purchase at a higher rate than in normal e-commerce, and higher AOV, which is cart size, which is like the number of products people are buying. And that one is kind of interesting also, because although like the goal of these, at least for us when we started it, was not necessarily to make the experiences more efficient. But what happens is, because in this virtual setting, you can actually see a lot of products like very quickly with one, swipe of your finger on your phone. So in a normal e-commerce setting, you have to go to like bags and shoes, and they're all on separate pages. Whereas here, like if a brand wants to show everything that they have, you can see it similar to a store where you can see it very quickly at a high level, and then of course you can jump in. So that's partially the reason for people discovering new types of products and buying more. Um, and then the second part of the question, which was, are consumers ready to use it? Yeah, so I think that is both a question of how easy you make it for consumers to use it. So I think getting this to work on mobile, getting this to work on the web, loading fast, like all of those concerns are what makes it easy for customers to use it. In fact, for us, the goal is customer doesn't need to know that this is VR and AR. Like they should just come to a link, it should work beautifully. It's intuitive, which it should be because it's how they're used to interacting in real life. And so, yeah, we find that it's not a learning curve for people to use it, and it's mostly about like making it really easy to access.
Makes sense. And do you find, so me as a shopper, I don't like to spend tons of time shopping. I'm kind of the opposite side, but you said it's more that customers are engaging more. Is it also helping customers that want to move quickly through things? I know you said like they can see more at one time, but do you think it enables that as well?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, initially our, for example, like we hadn't done a lot of like men's stores, but we hear more feedback that like, oh yeah, I don't like to go to store and spend a lot of time, and this is like helping me just do it like very quickly. So I think there's different modalities in which people shop, and different use cases for when you're looking for something very specific and you know exactly what it is. Then the current e-commerce interface is great because it's pretty much like this database search query driven. But if it's more like you're looking for inspiration, you're looking for browsing, then maybe this type of interface. Or if you're not looking to go to the store, but you just want to do from home, which of course right now we are all forced to, but that is good for that use case as well.
Yeah, makes sense. So our next question, and I should have let in for this session that this is the future of economy versus the future of health, but this one session on this day of healthcare. So Simon asked, interesting that this topic is in the health session. How can AI, AR, VR be applied to address things like shopping addictions or related negative behaviors? I don't know if you've thought about this at all and have something to say about it, but it is an interesting way to meld the two forms together.
Yeah, I wouldn't say that I have thought about it in the past. In terms of just like applications of VR technology to treating addictions, to treating phobias, I think there's a lot of research out there and case studies that have been done that it's really helpful in when you're immersing people and making them, for example, face their fears. So I'm sure there is an application of that with VR, AR, and AI for related negative behaviors. Yeah, I feel like it must be. I don't know if anybody's working on it, but it would be an interesting area.
Yeah, so great question, Simon. Another one on here is this live anywhere where we can use it for some much needed retail therapy?
Yes, you can go to our site on shopobsessed.co and browse virtual stores from many different categories, and each of them is unique. The background that I have here is this is all digitally created. So it's CGI, basically, like it's a feathers store. So it has like feather products. Yeah, so you can see kind of stores across fashion, beauty, wellness, fitness, home, all kinds of different categories on shopobsessed.co. And also we license our technology to brands and retailers. So on various customer websites, you can find them as well. And yes, they are live and have been live for a while.
Great. And have you seen an uptick with COVID that people are jumping on?
Yeah, absolutely. We have basically grown, I would say, like 300% over the last 3 months. So it's been like a really busy time for us. And just, yeah, a lot of interest from retailers and brands to adopt this technology. Whereas in the past, it was still or till last year, I would say it was still looked at sort of in an experimental kind of way, but now it's really more of a need driven. So it's really been like a fundamental change, and retailers are just getting much more savvy about this too. And they're coming with very specific requirements and briefs. So it's helping us develop our platform as well in to serve both the needs of the customers and the brands.
Right. Well, wonderful. Well, Neha, thank you so much. It's been a pleasure learning about the shopping experience and where the next set is taking us. So thank you.
Great. Thank you. Thanks for having me. Bye.
And for our viewers out there, we encourage you to join our next session, which is AI Idol. You'll get to see a pitch contest happen with various companies, and it's going to be exciting. They have the opportunity to get some money from investors as well. So thank you all for joining. Take care.